If you're having trouble finding videography clients, then this is going to help. I just signed a deal with a client for $12,000, and in this video, I'm going to break down the 3-call system that I always follow to find these kinds of opportunities, take the client through a process, and get an agreement signed so I can actually sleep at night. Now, before we dive in here, make sure you hang tight until the end of the video because I want to share a mindset shift that I had to experience to even be able to do this kind of project in the first place. But we do have to go through everything else here before we get to that so you can understand this mindset shift in the right context. So to give you a quick background story on how this opportunity came to be, I've known this client for about 2.5 years now, and I've done 3 one-off projects with them. On the last 2 projects, they had mentioned that they needed a new website built, but the conversation never really seemed to go any further than that. Well, about a month ago, the manager's assistant, Bree, reached out to me, and she mentioned that they were wanting to do some more marketing stuff, and she wanted to have a chat with me, which brings me to the first call in this process I'm going to teach you about. The first conversation is called the discovery call, and I always try to have these calls on Zoom, so that's exactly what we did. In this chat, I basically asked a million questions so I could better understand exactly what they were looking for. To summarize everything in that call, they want to scale, they want to revamp their website, and they want to attract new high-value employees. Towards the end of the call, I mentioned to them that I wanted to take all this information that I wrote down, and then I wanted to have a pitch deck made for them, and then I was going to go over it with them afterwards on this next call. Craig and Bree really liked this idea, and they agreed to set up this sales call 1 week later. Now, when you're going through this process for yourself, always book that next call at the end of the current one that you're already on. For the same reason as we always want to sign a service agreement and hold each other accountable for what we're agreeing to do. Life can get busy and we don't want these opportunities to slip away from us. So you're gonna pull up your calendar on that call. You're gonna book the sales call while you're on the discovery call. Always spread these out by a week or so because you're going to need time to build your pitch deck. Later in the video, I'm going to get into some details surrounding building a pitch deck and what software you can use to do it. But for now, I actually recorded the sales call, so let's just dive right into it and dissect it together.
All right, so everything I kind of put together here, I'm going to start with like our objectives, kind of everything that we had chatted about last time. I'm going to go over how I arrive at my numbers. I'm going to go over the timeline of like what a project like this we were talking about would look like from start to finish. Then I just did a bit of a competitive analysis, kind of looking at other arborists in Niagara and coming to a better understanding of like what they're doing, what you're doing, why this might be a good idea for us to do. Then I'm going to kind of go into like how I value creative collaboration, like what my personal goals are for this year. And then I'm going to get into kind of the strategies and some numbers and stuff.
So as you can see right off the hop in this call, I really wanted to set the tone for everything we were going to be talking about. So I made it a priority to have a table of contents laid out in clear writing right from the start, which I shared with them.
Sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. Okay, so as you grow and scale, like a number of squeeze points have kind of come to your guys' attention. You are a multi-generational business, so your reputation certainly does precede you. However, you've sort of realized that leaning mostly on word of mouth and developing great relationships with your clients is half the equation. The other half is going to be strategic digital marketing with a strategy that's actually going to include doing that fresh website. So as with any small to medium-sized business, it's a priority to increase profitability, which is something we touched on at the beginning of the last meeting. This means more clients, more projects, more opportunities to scale. And this is as simple as putting more information on the internet so more prospective clients become aware of your company as their best option. You guys are already doing good in the physical stuff. It is just kind of that digital side that we need to lean into a bit more. So you did express an interest, there's on my notes there, in rebalancing some small high profitability jobs, as well as we talked a little bit about corporate contracts. So as you've come to learn, any project is a good project. People remember you, they talk about you, they use you again. So as we kind of spread you out across more and more platforms, sharing more information and giving more touch points to prospective clients, the odds of attracting these new jobs are going to get a lot higher for you guys. So as the third objective, and I don't know how much we touched on this in the last meeting, but it was something that Rachel has mentioned to me a few times, is the employee thing. So like as the business continues to grow past the point you've gotten to, it's a high priority to attract as much new talent to your company as possible. This means sharing digital assets online that are going to represent the culture of Pine Ridge, giving you a high probability of success when you're looking to attract new arborists with a strong work ethic, technical and theoretical knowledge, as well as like a team building mentality.
I really wanted to get into the objectives of working with each other, because the most important thing we can consider when we're wanting to work with a client is having a reason for doing it. Why are we doing this? What is the purpose of creating this content or building this website or using this strategy? And then you'll notice at the end of naming all of the objectives of this project, I asked for Craig's opinion. I wanted to make sure that what I was saying was resonating with their vision for the project.
Right.
Is this kind of all in line with why we're thinking about doing this?
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Okay. There isn't like any touch points I missed just about like your direction, your goals for this year?
No, I think like getting the smaller jobs and then also potential employees. Yeah.
Okay. Is corporate stuff still on that list? I know that was only like, that's been kind of in passing a few times. You've put that in my head.
So corporate, yeah, it's like,
By corporate, I mean like municipality, like commercial stuff.
so I don't expect to get much of that out of this, aside from like someone who's out of the area looks at our website and then sees all the little icons at the bottom, like, oh, they've worked for these people, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But this is going to be for like the residential and then golf courses, that kind of corporate.
Perfect. Okay. We're on the same page then. That's a really good thought. Golf courses.
Mhm.
Cool. So, you know, like this isn't really a surprise or anything to you guys. We have worked together before. My pricing is very transparent. I just have a full day rate of $1,000, half day rate of $500. Just so you understand how I arrive at the numbers I arrive at.
So in this bit of the presentation, I really wanted to be transparent with how I arrive at my pricing. We can really be tempted to add value where it shouldn't be added. I keep my pricing extremely transparent. My half day rate is $500, my full day rate is $1,000, and I want the client to understand why I'm charging them, what I'm charging them, to give them the final deliverables on the project.
Okay, so this is the timeline for this whole project. This is like, as I was building this out, this is sort of like an ideal strategy in my mind. But it's going to be also sort of mix and match and not exactly what this is. So this is kind of like a loose concept, I guess. So over the course of this month, the rest of February, what we're going to do is we're going to create a series of design options that are going to be shared with you guys to approve them. And we're going to remain in this phase until we land on the final design that is going to be, you know, attractive and practical in terms of, you know, having good interactions from your prospective clients. Once everything's all approved, we're good to go. Throughout March, we're going to build it. All right, so we're going to collaborate with you regularly, just making sure we're on the right course. Once the site is built, we're going to use the content that we already have. So anything I've shot for you, as well as anything that you just might have laying around, like I'll take any of those images, I'll make them look better, type deal. And we'll just use that kind of temporarily. And once it's all built out, we're going to train Bree on how to use Elementor, which is, Bree, do you have any experience on Elementor? No? Yeah, so it's just like it's a WordPress plugin where like you can it's like, it makes it like a Wix site. Like you can just go in and change things and update it regularly how you want to. So Bree can just run all of this for you.
Okay.
So kind of like what we touched on, we were looking at one of your competitors, Tomahawk. I would like to fill your site out with just good content. And that's photo and video. So throughout April, I'd like to do 2 shoots, you know, like maybe the second week of April and the last week of April. And that would just look like me running around town and just shooting whatever you're working on, and doing that kind of interview with you, Craig, where we're making that the Pine Ridge process or brand video that's going to live right on the top of the website. So once this, also, sorry, just headshots of everybody too. I think that's really good to have on the site. So once the site is live, I want to continue to have like monthly Zooms with Bree just to collaborate on the marketing strategy. So it's going to include kind of like blog writing lessons using ChatGPT. You can put a blog up every few days to get a little more aggressive with it, depending on the amount of time she has. Geotagging for Google posts, best posting practices for social media, and just kind of regular check-ins with like the data you guys are getting back in terms of how successful it is in terms of your interactions online.
As you can see in this section of the presentation, I'm really going in depth on the exact timeline that we're going to be following for the duration of the project. Now keep in mind the sales process here fell a little bit past that February mark, so now we're moving into March and everything's going to get pushed back just a little bit. But notice what I did there when I brought Bree into the conversation. I haven't really spoken to her directly in this call yet, but I did want to make sure that she was involved in this process because she is Craig's assistant and she is going to be doing a lot of the tasks that we're collaborating on their back end.
And then past that, it's just kind of maintaining your growth. So as you begin to prioritize high quality video content, as we kind of touched on with your interest in YouTube stuff, I would like to propose doing like more regular shoots, like us committing to each other to consider doing that. And that's just to build up a massive bank of photos and videos. You're gonna use those for social media posting, YouTube, Google posting, blog headers on the website imagery updates, as well as those physical marketing assets you guys are already doing. It's good to just keep that fresh and put like new photos on those.
As I got to the end of this part of the presentation where I'm going over the timeline, I touched on maintaining growth. So that's a great way to really express to the client what my intentions are. I want to continue to work with them and continue to grow this relationship and continue to get good results for them. So beyond the scope of work that they're paying for right now, I want to really get ahead of any questions that might arise and give them the option to keep it in their minds that we can continue to work together and continue to make great marketing assets that are going to help their business grow for the long term.
Do you have any questions or concerns with how that looks? Again, that's loose. That's just roughly how something like this would go.
No, I wonder if I was gonna say, I wonder if more than just Bree should be trained on it, but this is Bree's thing, and if for whatever reason we lose Bree moves on, or then
both of you
rather train someone.
Yeah,
someone for sure.
that's a really good idea, and it'd be as simple as this. Like it would be a Zoom call, right? And like I think anybody who should understand it at least loosely. I mean, Craig, even if you wanted to just understand it, because you should understand everything that's happening in the business, even if you don't physically do it, that'd be a good idea too.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it for questions on that part.
Bree, how do you feel about that?
Seems like a solid plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So as far as my competitive analysis went, when I was looking at, you guys and everybody else who's an arborist in Niagara, when you Google Niagara arborist, there's a massive list of companies that pops up, and every single website looks pretty much the exact same. And then, it's obviously going to quickly become this contest of how quickly and easily can a potential client work through your website, get in touch with you and hire you. And I mean, every industry is extremely competitive for the most part, and it's going to be challenging to scale when there's so many businesses that are offering similar services to like a single market. So that's the problem, right? On the solution side of things, every single site, I guess, including just every site on that first page it's got a dated website, like they're all dated. And there's only one of them who uses video, and it's like sparingly at that. They're called BL Tree. They have like a video header at the top, but it's just like cinematic footage of them using chainsaws. By creating a modern user-friendly website with multiple call to actions, the blog, beautiful photos, that educational video about your process at the top, then the probability is high that Pine Ridge is going to become the top choice to complete strangers who find you guys online. And then, when we pair that with your 25 plus years of experience and you're approaching 200 positive Google reviews, you guys also have an industry leading team that is very obvious just watching you work. Like you guys clearly are like the best arborist in Niagara, and you're also one of the oldest arborists. So I think that using the strategy is going to prove that to people who are looking at you online when they're researching if they want to work with you.
Including a competitive analysis in this presentation is, I think, a really good move in terms of painting a picture for exactly where the client sits in the market. So without doing this, you're really just kind of throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it sticks. But by putting them up against their competition and comparing what they're doing now and what they're going to be doing because of us and what their competition is doing, it's going to paint a really clear picture of the value that we are attempting to provide for these people.
So that's kind of how I view this whole strategy in terms of why I think it's a good idea. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I like what you're saying.
Okay. Cool. All right. So after this slide, we're going to kind of get into like pricing and how we could approach this. I just wanted to kind of share just what I've been doing the past little while and what I've learned about different industries and how they kind of operate. So I've been mainly working with general contractors. I've been doing that for 5 years, and I've learned that their industry is extremely competitive, and the arborist industry shares that trend. And I mean, due to recent conflicts of interest that I've started to find myself in with working with a lot of different contractors in the same area, in the same industry, I've kind of developed my own strategy for 2025. I basically want to work with one business per industry in any geographical area. So that all this to say that that's just me wanting to express to you that you have my loyalty and my commitment when I'm working with you guys exclusively to reach your goals. And in doing that, that's me using all these strategies that I built out over the past 5 years. And I've come to understand that you can't. I would rather work with one business in one industry consistently and like that, because that just makes sense. Like you're bidding against similar jobs with your competitors. I can't be working with all of the arborists. It's
Trying to make everyone win
yeah,
over everyone else that, yeah,
yeah. It's just morally extremely inappropriate.
playing both sides of the chess game.
Yeah, it's not right. And I mean, this year for me, I'm prioritizing transparency, like high quality relationships, and my own authentic growth. And yeah, that's where we're chatting. I like you guys. We've already done some cool work together. And if you are open to doing more work together, yeah, you would just be my Niagara arborist, basically. And then I'd have a Muskoka arborist. No, Halliburton arborist.
I like
Okay,
that.
cool.
So you can see at the end of that little segment about creative collaboration and what my values are, Craig said, I like that, which is really good news. I'm glad that he likes that. Basically, I wanted to include that because I want him to understand that I'm not just gonna come and do some videos and then do some videos with another arborist and then another one. And at the end of the day, they're all just competing against each other using the assets that I'm making for them. I want to pick one specific type of client to work with in any given niche, and maximum 2 of those clients in a geographical area will be served doing what I do, because that's only morally correct. And you're going to find if you do take that approach and you get really, really good in one specific niche and you just build up one brand specifically that you're betting on, you choose that brand, you want to work with them and you want to build them up using your skill set. If you do that, then they're really going to respect and appreciate that loyalty, and they will always return the favor.
So one thing to remember here, like as we get to these next plateaus, and this is obviously something you understand, but the thing that gets us from 0 to 10 is not going to be the same thing that gets us from 11 to 20. And that is why we're talking. I know that you guys understand and appreciate the digital side of things, and it's exciting that you want to move in that direction. So as far as different options go, I wanted to give you a few different options that you can mull over. And again, like you'll have to, just too bad Rachel couldn't be here. You'll have to show her the video after and chat with her and see what you guys think. But I've spread this out for like 3 months, which I think that's kind of just like the lower end basic. Let's get this done, and then like you guys can move on, and maybe we'll chat again at some point in time. Right? Let's just one and done, get the site done, get you up and running, and see you later. And then I think the 4 and 7 months are more like let's consider building out an actual strategy that's going to be consistent. And it's going to, continue to put things online so that you guys can continue to grow and, just improve your SEO and everything that goes into this. So with all of the options, except for this one here, we have a single page redesign website, which is similar to Tomahawk. Remember how their site looks? It's just one page. And that's how I just did my site too. And I like it. It's more like a funnel. Like it funnels people through your site and it doesn't give so many options to go and explore. I like that.
Instead of clicking here and there, they just kind of scroll until they find.
Yeah. And so like these numbers would be cheaper if we did go with that on one of these, because I think that's like $500 less. I'd have to double check Katie's numbers, but I think this one was a little bit less effort on her part, so it was cheaper. But on all of them, we get the blog, we get that cost calculator we chatted about, and then we're going to kind of go through the text and all of your like kind of marketing language and just revise it and optimize it for SEO, depending on what you want people searching for in the next couple of years. And then again, at the end of that, we'll be training Bree and whoever else wants to be involved on Elementor. So you you know, you don't have to come to us to like make up changes or anything. You can always ask, like if you're stuck on something, but you'll be self-sufficient in terms of updating the website itself. So you don't get into this situation again where it's been a few years and it's lagging. You still got photos of cranes and stuff and you don't want them there anymore.
Yeah.
You guys can just go in and swap those out. So on that first option, that also includes that new content for the site, which I was pitching we would shoot in April. And then, you know, once that's all shot, you can use that for socials too, because I'll also edit it for that. But mainly that's to kind of just fill out the site and just make it brand new and pretty timeless. And then we also have that. So that'd be for 3 months. Bree and I would have a Zoom once per month. And we just kind of go over strategy, what she's doing, what else she could do, the blog thing, etc. For the second option, the thing that we add is 2 half-day photo and video shoots in May. And that's to just really test the viability of doing that as a strategy. That's to test, like, is this investment we're making worth the content that's being created for us to put on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, and to use, you know, the photos for Google posts, for blog headers, for your physical marketing stuff. It's just to do it for, it's like a trial run, right? Like do it for a month, see if it jives with your day-to-day, your workflow, see if it's like, make sure it's not too invasive as well, just in terms of like taking up your time, Craig, because that's another thing to consider. Because you will have to invest some of your time if we are doing talking head stuff. Like you'll have to hang out and talk on camera for a bit if you want to do that kind of video.
I mean, I would like to do it, and then I would like some other people to be up there as well, right?
I would love to have a variety of people.
Yeah.
Because that looks, first of all, looks attractive to your prospective client, but it also looks attractive to other arborists that you might want to hire as well. It just looks good all around, I think. And then for the third option, you get everything that was in those other two, except we go until the end of August. So we just hang out all summer and shoot a bunch of stuff. But that drops down from 2 half-day shoots in May to just one like most of the day shoot from June to August. So June, July, August, I just come out one day in a month and shoot a bunch, and you guys just collect this massive bank of all this content that you shot over the summertime. You know, and you can take it easy on posting, you know, like post pretty regularly, but I feel like that should kind of push you through into the months where people are thinking about hiring an arborist. You know, like it's winter time, maybe they're like researching a little bit, and you can continue to, you know, push this content out and use it to maybe attract new projects for the springtime. And then, yeah, in September, we would just kind of reassess. We'd look at everything we did as far as the shooting and the content creation goes, and we'd kind of decide what to do next. Like if you want to dial it back to something kind of minimal over the winter, or just completely shut it down and pick back up in the spring, or not at all. Like maybe it didn't do what you thought it would and it's not worth doing again, then that's an option too.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I see it working. I'd like to have some sort of involvement or some sort of back and forth, like every month.
We would have,
right? So yeah, like even after the 3, 4, or 7 months, I want to keep going, even if it's just like a Zoom call once a month or something, right? Just to keep discussing and strategy and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. I mean, none of this is scaring me away. So
this is the exciting part of the whole presentation, the pitch deck that I'm providing for the client here. This is the proposed strategies section. As you can see, I kind of opened with a little bit of a statement going over why it's so important to change your strategy as the years go on. The same thing that got you from 0 to 10 won't get you from 11 to 20. Craig seemed to resonate with that. From there, I gave him 3 different options that he can choose from. And again, this is all open to interpretation, collaboration, shuffling deliverables around. I want this to be his choice. He's making the decision. I'm not trying to ram any of these into his strategy that he's using right now. I want him to choose the direction that we're going to move in together. And by the end of it, he said that none of this is scaring me away. The numbers aren't that outlandish, and that is the best thing that we can hear.
Good. And again, going back to like those rates, that's just what it is. It's just time, right? I'm not trying to find some crafty way of adding value to it and saying, you know, like you're going to make money off of this, so this is what it's worth. It's just what my time's worth, basically. And yeah, again, I've enjoyed working with you guys up to this point, and
Yeah.
this always kind of becomes a conversation that eventually happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to what Rachel thinks about it, and
Mhm.
um, yeah, that's about it. I think. Yeah, thank you.
I think so. When would we do any of these have time frame, like start times? Are you talking starting this in April?
I'm talking starting like the website build portion of it
Yeah.
this month, which is like
Okay.
the um basically the design preparation phase. So that would last for like all of February, and then starting in March, the site gets built, and we just build
Okay.
it as a separate site, and it just kind of sits there, and we use like whatever content we have at the moment to kind of fill it out as placeholders. And I mean, at that point in time, the site could go live in um in March, like end of
April.
March. Yeah, and then in April we do those first shoots.
Mhm.
So that's 2 full days of shooting just to have like a crazy amount of content.
Okay.
And then, you guys will know by that time how to use Elementor and replace the content. And that could even be in one of my Zoom calls with Bree. Like I can kind of sit with her and specifically choose certain images to go in certain spaces.
As we got towards the end of me pitching the numbers to him, he then had some questions regarding the timeline. So this is why it's so important to have that entire timeline laid out, not only for them to understand when you go through that part of the presentation, but also for you to have really embedded into your mind, because there are going to be questions like this. You need to understand and have planned out, how is this whole project going to go down, so that if they do ask you specific questions, you're not sitting there thinking about it and crafting it in your head on the spot.
Mhm. Is
Uh,
there a way, so like I like the idea, this is maybe separate from this,
yeah.
um, of just like sitting here with the camera, microphone, and doing some shots. I'm trying to do training shots because I need to replace myself in this position, right? So
Yeah, you do.
I'm like, here's me making a phone call to this person, making a phone call to this person. Um,
That's a good idea.
is there a chance that like you and I could sit down and review some of these videos that I'm making,
Yeah.
and you'd be like, you know what, the lighting's off over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk this way instead of that way.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
100%. 100%. That would probably be best doing in person.
Okay, yeah.
So I mean, like if we did decide to go ahead and do one of these, then we would just we do that first payment. It'd be a check. So I'd just come pick it up, and then
Mm,
we could just do it then. Like I'll just come to the office. We'll hang out for an hour. I'll give you
mhm.
some kind of thoughts on what you're doing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Just off the cuff, like a good rule is like you see that window behind you,
Yeah.
just use natural light, right? Like set yourself up in front of the window if you can, and
Oh,
then
do you use natural light, eh?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so
Oh,
like
okay.
face the window and let that window light you, and
Yeah.
you look good. You can also get you're just doing like kind of selfie on your phone.
Right now?
Yeah,
No, I got a webcam and then
using the webcam.
uh, yeah, lights up there on that screen.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Here's me.
Okay. Yeah, if you already have lights, you're very small, so I can't see it all that well. But if you've already got lights and stuff, that's great.
This is another great example of how you can add value when you're on a call like this. Craig had asked me about me helping him with some other videos that he's trying to make internally, and I was completely open to that. And I moved things around, and I gave him some great options in terms of how we can approach that together. Meaning, I'll go in there in person, we'll spend an hour together, we'll look at some of the stuff you've already made, and we'll figure out how to make it even better. And then I even offered some free advice right in that moment as well.
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes. I like a lot of the blogs. I'm trying to write blogs for content, and then I want to take those blogs and put them onto like this, right?
That's a great strategy.
I want to
That's
get
super,
to.
that's super smart. Like triple use it. You can
Hmm.
also you can start to collect. I'm sure you have a bank of emails, right?
Hmm.
I can also show Bree how to, unless she has experience with it, like use MailChimp and send out a newsletter once per month or every 2 weeks to all of these emails. And
Yes.
the newsletter is simply that blog. Like those blogs are just repurposing them. You're taking
Yes.
the blog, put it in a newsletter, send it out. It's just people seeing Pinewood Street, Pinewood Street, Pinewood Street.
Yeah.
Now it's in their inbox. They're seeing it online. They're
Yeah, we've been talking about that. It's same thing,
yeah,
like blog on the website, send it out.
yeah,
But we need people to sign up for it. I guess you
yeah.
can't email.
You
Cold
can
email a bunch of
you
people.
can't you can email, but you have to disclose in the first one, like we're sending you this newsletter. If you want to unsubscribe, please unsubscribe. You like just unsubscribe if you don't want these.
Oh, okay. Where did
That's
you
what
hear that?
that's what we did for Steve Bill. We just downloaded a CSV of all of his contacts, and not many people unsubscribed because they were already clients and they made good relationships with them.
Hmm.
Like they welcomed the blogs.
Yet again, here's another great example of adding even more value to this call for these two. Craig had mentioned writing blogs and then turning those into videos as well. I then took it one step further and said, well, why don't you take those blogs and also make them into newsletters, and we can teach Bree how to send those out to your mailing list.
Probably that first one is like
Yeah.
really like hooks them in, right?
It's an introductory type of thing. I think in the first newsletter, you really want to just express why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
like what your intentions are with sending this newsletter out. And for you, it would be just educating the general public on everything about trees, I think. All right. And to help with time, I mean, I'm very well versed in the construction world, but I don't fully write every single blog that goes on Steve's website. I'll come up with ideas, and then I'll get ChatGPT to help me, and then I'll copy and paste ChatGPT into a document, and then I'll rewrite it by taking its ideas. It's so like using AI to like assist you in this writing is going to just sort of give you infinite ideas
Mm-hmm.
instead of stressing over it and like sitting there trying to write, and you're just wasting time because you can't come up with something that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get writer's block.
The old writer's block.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Cool. What do you think, Bree? Excited?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Do you have any questions or thoughts, Bree?
So here yet again, I've reeled Bree back in. She's been pretty quiet for the past little bit, so I just wanted to really address her and make sure that she didn't have any questions or any confusion surrounding anything that we had talked about.
Not really. No, this
No.
is I mean, I agree with everything you guys are saying, and
Okay.
I think it will make sense the more we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think
I
so.
think this is something, I mean, like you said, we keep coming back to this every other time that we meet. So it's like,
Yeah, I know.
we know this is coming. We know this needs to be done.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
money doesn't scare us away. So now it's just a matter of
Good.
like, yeah,
Cool.
let's just pick one
Yeah. Okay.
and go with it.
I've started to really look at it when I'm approaching people with these as though like I'm obviously a subcontracted person, but it's like I become embedded into your business, like the same you'd hire an employee.
Mhm.
It's my job to make things that like do the work for me, right?
Mhm.
So that's how I kind of phrase it in my mind.
Awesome. All right. Well, I will, if you send me this video,
Yeah, I'll send you
sit
the
down.
video, and do you want me to send you this pitch deck too?
The what, sorry?
The pitch deck here, the presentation. I can send that.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well if you want.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you guys, take a couple days. Can I maybe give you a call, Craig, in a couple days? Or like
Yeah, for sure.
maybe on Monday or something, like take the weekend. I'll call you if 11 works. I'll give you a
I
shout.
mean, Mondays are generally kind of not so crazy.
Pretty crazy. Okay.
Call me Tuesday.
Like Tuesday. Okay.
Let me see what's up on Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, you and Rachel chat and
Yeah.
kind of decide what we want to do.
Yeah, call me Tuesday and we'll get
Okay.
we'll be able to get the ball rolling.
Put it in my calendar.
This is the part of the presentation that I mentioned earlier in this video where every single call you're on, you need to book that next point of contact with the client. In the meantime, he's going to look at this pitch deck, he's going to watch the video through with Rachel, and they're going to decide together, because they're both co-owners, how to move forward with me in terms of the approach that we're going to take to this project.
Right on, man. You got plans for the weekend?
I'm just working pretty much, man. I got to clear some snow today. It's been
yeah.
blizzarding out again. Yeah.
So the rest of this was just kind of fluff. We just talked about the weather and we just shot the shit about what's going on in our own lives. All in all, that sales call went really well, and I was able to connect the dots for Craig and Bree, so they had a solid strategy to move forward with. You know, I'd say the only real criticism that I can make on this is my energy was a little bit low, but you know, that's the beauty of recording ourselves. We can see how we're behaving from the other person's point of view, and we can make little micro adjustments for next time. Generally speaking, I always suggest having all the decision makers present for a sales call, but that doesn't always pan out, much like in this situation with Rachel. Because she wasn't on the sales call, I had to set up a closing call with Craig a week later. And that's all good. Nothing ever works out perfectly, and we need to be able to think really quick on our feet. And if the client can't sign an agreement on that sales call, you have to make sure, again, you set the closing call in stone and make sure they understand your intentions. The purpose of the closing call is to arrive at an agreement together and decide how to move forward. Craig and I did end up having that closing call the following week, and after chatting with Rachel, they decided that they wanted to sign the deal where we build them a fresh website and we create some content to go on it, as well as for their socials, and they're going to be paying $3,000 per month for a 4-month duration. They're going to have a strategy evaluation at the end of that process as well, because they said it's going to be likely that they want to sign for another run of content creation once we get their feet wet. Now, this brings me to that mindset shift that I had mentioned at the beginning of this video. I want you to stop labeling yourself as a tool operator. By calling yourself a videographer, filmmaker, photographer, you're putting yourself in a box and you're really closing yourself off to opportunities like these ones. When Bree originally reached out, she said, well, you know, we really want a new website too, but I know you guys don't do that. And then she trailed off, and I said, yes, we actually do build websites. It reminded me of the first time we ever took on a website build. One of my oldest clients was going through a falling out with his web designer, and I said, we'll take it on. At the time, we didn't really have a choice. Up until that point, I was just creating his photo and video content, and we were sharing it on his socials for him. If we didn't take on the site, then we had a really good chance of actually losing that client to another agency who does photo, video, and websites. I have this subcontractor named John who I taught how to be his own boss basically, and he works for me 3 or 4 times a week, and he sends me an invoice every 2 weeks. So he was the one who took on that build, and we just made it work. Now, I don't touch websites anymore. I now subcontract any website design and build to a super talented web developer named Katie. But the point here is that you are a creative problem solver. By being open to taking on creative projects for businesses that you don't feel 100% comfortable with, you're really going to loop your strengths of photo and video into an entire website build package while subbing out the actual design and build to a professional. Doing this actually ensures that the client is going to get an even better product, because the photographer and filmmaker they're working with to create the assets being used on the final result is actually running the entire process, acting as a creative director of sorts. Now, to just put a nice little bow on this whole thing, if you want to create an opportunity like this for yourself, here is a step-by-step guide that you can follow. So you're going to find a home show or a trade show or any other public event where there's going to be clients that are like the ones that you want to be working with. You're going to contact the organizer of the event, and you're going to offer free photography. Tell them you want to cover the event, and you'll give them all the photos for free at the end of the project. You're going to walk around the event taking photos of all of the businesses and their setups. Start conversations, give them your card, take their cards, tell them that it was great to meet them and that you're going to send them the photos that you took. You're going to send the businesses you spoke with the edited photos. In the email, give them a simple little pitch. Make it something like, if you guys need a hand with any of your marketing material, whether it's photo or video, let me know and let's have a chat. Keep it short and simple. Don't be pushy at all. Ideally, one of these clients is going to want to do a project with you. So you're going to do the one-off project, and you're going to keep adding more value than they pay for. Make it a priority to get to know them on a personal level and prove to them that they can trust you. You need to prove to them that you have their best interests at heart. Once you have a project or two with them under your belt, keep an endless loop of opportunity with the client open. Message or call them out of the blue if you have ideas about their marketing. Tell them it would be cool to do a recruitment video or a talking head video and mention why you think it's a good idea. As you continue to work with them, keep your eyes and ears open for opportunities that might involve more commitment, more time, and more budget from them. When you see your opportunity, then you're just going to take it. Let them know what you can do for them and do whatever you have to make this happen. After this step in the process, you're going to have that discovery call. You're going to get to understand exactly what they need, and then you're going to book a sales call at the end of that conversation. Let them know that you're going to put together a pitch deck for them to review with you on the next call. Then you're going to create that pitch deck. Go over the notes you have from your discovery call and craft a custom presentation just for them. Now, as far as templates go, I would highly suggest using Canva. I'm going to link it down below for you. It's free. It has hundreds of plug and play templates that you can use to make custom presentations pretty quickly and pretty easily. After this, you're gonna have that sales call, and ideally you wanna close the deal on that call. Always remember to keep this part of the process as collaborative as possible, like you saw in the video I showed you. Do not push them into something they aren't comfortable with doing just because you want the money. It's not all about the money. It's about value exchange. If they can't sign a general service agreement on the sales call for whatever reason, then set up a closing call the following week and finish up your conversation. Lastly, you're gonna close the deal and you're gonna get started on your project. As you're moving through the project and you're getting close to the end of the agreed upon term, always try to think of ways of continuing this subscription-based service that you've had them sign up for with you. Find ways of adding value and to make continuing working with you for the long term worth the investment that they're making. And that is the entire process that I followed start to finish to sign a $12,000 video marketing deal. Signing deals like this is always a numbers game, which is why it's always so important to keep your prospecting pipeline full. As a creative freelancer, you should always be having conversations with potential clients. Sometimes these conversations will become opportunities and sometimes they won't, and that's okay. Just always remember to enjoy the process and open yourself up to providing solutions to problems for people as opposed to just making some vids and taking some photos at random. So I hope this helped. Feel free to watch it again if you have to dissect the certain aspects of the process that I followed. And if you like this one, check out this other video. I've been taking photos and making videos for small businesses since 2019, and I share everything I've learned along the way on this channel. Thanks for watching and have a good one.